Welcome back to Bicycle Touring with Children, Tips and Tricks. Let's talk bikes. So there's a lot of different options for taking kids riding. We're just going to briefly go over a few of them. So there are bikes built for the whole family. We absolutely loved our triple and then could add a trailer onto that. But please note that triples and quads are really heavy. Once you get all of your riders and your gears on them, they require either great coordination from the adults or a captain that can hold up 500 plus pounds. Our triple tipped the scales at about 700 pounds fully loaded when we rode our tours with our children and the trailer. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for those things. The next option are tandems, so just two people. These are great options for kids that can hold themselves upright. You're not worried about them falling off or falling asleep. But a great way to show them and model for them all of those great safety tips and how to ride, and a good way for them to learn to pedal while getting a drink without having to worry about trying to balance. So it just takes away, some of those extra challenges of riding by themselves. Another option is adapted tandems to add children. So we've seen some pretty creative ones on Palm. A few people we know have said that those little gray seats that either fit behind you or in front of you have led to their child being very hot, or their child's helmet fitting in an awkward way because of the way they sit in those seats, and have said that they were either glad they had another option or wished they had another option for longer tours. Again, nothing that that I have an opinion on. It's just what I'm sharing because it's been shared to us. The next option for little kids, I loved my trailer. My daughter loved her trailer. She spent an entire summer in it as we traveled across the United States. She had a little toy box and her Hello Kitty walkie-talkie. Her hydration pack was mounted behind her seat and with a retractable name tag holder holding the straw in place, and her little stuffed Mimi. And she absolutely loved it, to the point that when we got it back out later that winter, she spent the entire day sitting back in it again. It was her favorite place to be. It was her favorite thing to do. She absolutely loved it. And it can also be used, ours could also be used as a stroller, so it came in really handy. I could just unhook her from the bike, like if she was sleeping or something like that and we had to run in somewhere, I could just unhook her from the bike and take her in there without waking her up. I do recommend, if you are using a trailer that doesn't have Velcro along the front side of it, to put a strip of Velcro so that when you close that flap, there's no longer a little gap. Otherwise, you might lose a toy going down the side of a mountain, and then they're going to be really upset that you don't want to turn around and climb that mountain to go back and get it. Just a tip to the wise. Then come our recumbent tag-alongs. These are a great in-between step. So if you're worried about your children still falling asleep or they're needing more support, they're young enough that they still need that harness, these are a great in-between step, are those recumbent tag-alongs. We use one for my daughter with epilepsy so that she wouldn't have a seizure and fall off a bicycle. So it worked perfectly for us, because she was nice and secure. They're more stable. We switched out our hitch. Our wonderful family member, Papa Joel, he customized our hitch so that it was a more secure hitch. So that's always an option for you if you don't like the way that they attach to your bike. The next step would be your tag-along. If you have a little bit of an older child or a child that you're not worried about falling off anymore, tag-alongs are a great way. They can hook to just about any bike. They have different ways that they attach to bikes. Now, if you have twins and one is on the back of a tandem and one is on a tag-along, Make sure you switch them out every now and then because they love to stand up and smack each other on the back of the head. So you don't want one of them getting a nice flat spot. You want to make sure you rotate them out. All right, so our next thing to consider are your hitches and your transportation. So if your only vehicle is a sedan with no hitch option, a tandem or a triple is probably not your best bike option unless you're willing to rent a U-Haul or rent a trailer of some kind, to transfer you back and forth. Same goes for a super lifted truck. A roof rack might not be ideal for you, especially if you're vertically challenged like I am. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing or when you're looking into what kinds of bikes work best for you, is how you're going to transport them. The other consideration is the hitch that it attaches to your bike. So there's lots of adapted hitches, and there's usually, especially with trailers, there's at least 2 different kinds of hitches. So talk to your bike shop or whoever you buy your trailer from and see which hitch is going to work best for your bike. The next thing are trikes and adapted bikes. So there's lots and lots of different things out on the market these days. We've got hand crank trikes, and there's e-bikes and all kinds of different things to keep in mind if you need an adaptation to your bike. And the last one is child-sized bikes for a solo pedal. Make sure your child-sized bike is properly fitted to them and that you practice a lot. Because when your child is riding by themselves, they have to know the rules of the road. They need to know how to get a drink while they're still maintaining their balance. They need to know all of those things and be confident enough to do those by themselves on the road.